Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Stand Up Tech. Oh, I am tired today. It's been a very long day for me. I wasn't expecting it to be a long day, but hey, you work with what you can get. So, I think today it was a really rough start, and then as I went along, it started to get even rougher for me. But I think it could have been worse. But really what I wanted to talk about today was the MacBook Pro, specifically my MacBook Pro. Right now I am talking to Apple support about this, but I've been having a lot of issues with this computer, and I've only had it for not even 3 years, just under 3 years. And I'm just surprised that I'm having these many issues with the computer when it's so new, when it's not even that old. This computer came out late 2015, and I've been having issues with it since a few months ago. Well, at least that's when issues started to occurring pretty periodically, where it wasn't like a one-time issue and then it was gone. It first started with the backlight keyboard going on and off of working, and then as I went along it started to get worse. So now what the big issue is would be apps crashing. So I would be just doing work on my computer. I'd be using 3D modeling software from Maya that I have to have for school, and then I'd be using either Photoshop or even my regular Photos app, and it would crash. And it would be happening every single time I used the computer. It would just be different from when it would crash. It would either be like the very beginning, middle of a project, or even towards the end it would just crash. Other applications were crashing as I went along, but the main ones were Photos and Maya, and it progressed from there. Surprisingly, iTunes was the only thing that never crashed. Everything else would crash. iTunes would be very slow, but I was kind of used to that. I was always used to that with other MacBook computers, but also PCs. The iTunes is just something that takes a while because there's a lot of background app refresh in it. But I'm surprised that would crash 0 times when Maya, which is a 3D modeling software, which was really heavy stuff, it crashes just as much as a Photos app, which is built into the computer. So there are a lot of issues there that just shouldn't be happening, but they are. That's really the big thing though with this, is the issues with the MacBook Pro. And it's very frustrating talking about this because I just went to the Apple Store to get an OS reinstall, and that didn't do anything. I thought it was going to help, but it didn't, and thankfully it hasn't crashed as much, but it still has been crashing. Now it's around towards the beginning or the end that I use the application. Sometimes it really lags, but it's not crashing as much. So that's a big improvement. I haven't experienced that much crashing, not nearly as much that it was before. So now I don't remember the last time it crashed. That's good. The first day I brought it back from the OS reinstall though, it was definitely crashing for me, and that was very frustrating. So there was that issue. So that's one of the big things with that. But no, it's honestly safe to say the whole day wasn't awful, and I have to say a lot of it is thanks to the iPhone 10. I know that I've done at least 2 videos so far on the iPhone 10, but I think I'm going to make another video because I did want to talk about it primarily about is it really worth it, but I just wanted to say that the iPhone X does cheer me up a lot. I know that's kind of a weird thing to say coming from a tech specialist going, hey, this phone makes me feel better. The reason why it makes me feel better though isn't really because of what it can do, but it's really just and it's not one of those things where it's like, oh, I have the coolest phone, it's brand new, and it has all the latest, greatest features. That's not why. The reason why this phone makes me happy is that it makes me feel connected to people. And that's both from a social standpoint, but also a standpoint of something that is similar between you and other people, that there's a connection. And to have something that helps other people, that means a lot to me. And I feel like I help a lot of people with the iPhone. I make videos, tech support videos for friends and family. I'm the go-to techie, and with that in mind, I do a lot of the diagnosing for their devices. If something's wrong, if they need to connect to a printer, that's what I'm here for. And I feel like the iPhone X helps me help them, showing them on a bigger display what they're supposed to do for their products. And it's also cool to show what the next iPhone's going to look like next year, because there's all these rumors going around that it's going to have 6.1 inch phone and a smaller phone. There's going to be a new SE at the beginning of the year. There's all these rumors about Apple products, but really, I'm just focused on this one. And why this makes me feel good is I finally have a device that I actually want to keep for 2 years or even 3, depending how well it runs next year. But I've never been able to say that about any other smartphone. None. A lot of tech devices, I either pass it on or I don't like it so much, but with the iPhone X, I haven't had that at all. Has it had issues? Sure, but it's all been software related, and in just about a day or two, it's fixed. It's not this long period of time where maybe it's going to get fixed or not, or maybe this is going to explode like a certain Galaxy phone. That's not the case with this one. It's a really, really nice phone. And that's something I haven't been able to say about any smartphone I've ever owned. And I've owned a lot of phones. A lot of people don't believe me when I say this, and this is the truth, that iPhone's the only phone I've ever had. It's not. I've actually... My phone keeps flashing at me, sorry. I've actually had more than just an iPhone. I've had Droid. I've had even one of the first generation of Droids. Yeah, I've had one of those. I had Samsung. I've had them at least twice. It was gonna be a third time, but I did some reviews on the Galaxy S3, and I was like, I like the color, and that's it. That's all I like about it. I had a lot of flip phones. I tried LG. I was trying it with one of my friend's phone, and I was just... It was a nice design, but it just didn't feel nice at all in the hand. But that doesn't count. What I mean by phones I've had, I mean by daily drivers. So I've had Droids and more than one generation of Samsung. And I always switch back to iPhone. But why am I such an Apple person? Why am I not Samsung if I like all these features, if I like something that I can customize? Why do I care so much about personality in a product if I have an iPhone with which a lot of people complain about because you can't customize it nearly as much or at all compared to a Samsung or Droid or LG or even the new Honor smartphones or the OnePlus. Why iPhone? Because it's faster. It's so much faster. The iPhone lineup between other devices is insanely different. Now, there have been differences finally. For the first time I've seen this. The Galaxy has finally beaten iPhone when it comes to performance, but that's only been, not the S8. It has not been with the S8. It's only been with the Galaxy Note 8. It finally beat the iPhone. And it was the iPhone 10 versus the Galaxy Note 8. This was a very recent video. I don't believe it was Pocket Now Daily. There's another YouTuber. I don't remember their name. Sorry about that. But my point is, after I watched the video, I was bewildered. I finally saw iPhones get beaten by Samsung in performance. Specs? No. Specs, iPhone's gonna lose. No offense, Apple, but what makes you so much better than the other products and the other brands is that when you release something, you make sure that it's perfect or that it's 99% chance it's not gonna fail you. When you make a product, it lasts significantly longer than any other brand. PCs, for heavy users or more than moderate users, they end up switching out their laptops pretty often, like 4 to 6 years. When it comes to Apple, you're looking at 8 years to a decade before you're swapping it out. My Mac, and this is why I'm so upset, how come for other Macs it hasn't had this issue, but with mine it has? That I don't understand. But the iPhone 10 made me feel better a little bit about technology choices that I've made in the past few years, and I'm incredibly happy with this decision. I've had every iPhone since the iPhone 5, and I have had breaks in between when I would go to another version of a smartphone, but I've had every phone as a daily driver. My first iPhone was the iPhone 5, and then I was given the iPhone 5C from a friend. That was my daily driver for maybe 2 days. It had less storage, but it was free, so it was nice. That's when I switched to the Galaxy S6, not the S6, the S5. I switched to the Galaxy S5, right in between the 5C and the iPhone 6 Plus. The Galaxy S6, I swapped out 4 through my carrier because they kept having malfunctioning issues, they kept overheating, and the lagging was insane. So I switched back to iPhone, and I got the 6 Plus for a really good deal. So I went from the 6 Plus, and then I had the 6S, which was the first time I ever bought a phone for myself. I didn't buy a phone for myself before then, so this was my first phone as a whole of being my own. And that was a really, really nice experience, purchasing my first phone for the first time. And the 6S did get swapped out at least twice. One was for, no, it was 3. The first time was the speaker. It was making a crackling noise, but that's besides the point. But yeah, I had the 6S, and then my next phone was a 7 Plus, which is when was my next upgrade with the Apple upgrade program, and now I have the iPhone 10. So I've had every generation of iPhone since the 5. I've experienced the other generations. My personal favorite was actually the 3GS. That was a very popular phone. I love the design of it. I love the feeling of it. But after that, it would have to be the iPhone 5. But iPhone 10, it's finally a phone I'm super happy with. It's something that not only fits in my pocket, but it fits in my hand, and I'm able to use it with one hand. and I don't feel uncomfortable using it with the 2, which is something that was different with the iPhone 5, which is why the iPhone 10 is just above that. Another, of course we had the issues with the Mac, but I was also having issues with my Apple Watch, and I did recently post a video. This is actually, the issues I'm having was before I took this video, like way before. I had issues with my Apple Watch a few days ago where it was on this crashing cycle. I posted that on my Twitter feed. That is fixed. I talked with Apple support. I wanted to thank you again for helping with those issues. So far, you guys have helped me tremendously with a lot of my different products. I know that we're still working on this MacBook Pro together. Looks like I got another response from you. We're creating a case file for the computer, so we'll see how that goes. But back to the Apple Watch. The Apple Watch has been, it's been an up and down cycle, but with the Series 2 I have not had that many issues. Really, it was just that one time with the crashing, but so far the Apple Watch has had crashing issues other than the Series 3. It's the only one that hasn't had that issue. So, no, I'm not getting the Series 3. This will be a year that I'm going to be skipping for the Apple Watch, because I did get the stainless steel model, which is significantly more expensive, but it was definitely worth it. For those who are speculating whether or not to get a stainless steel model, if you're doing a lot, if you're really active in the outdoors aspect, stainless steel is actually really nice for you, and it's really easy to polish it. While the aluminum, it's pretty easy to shatter the display. Now, of course, if you put a screen protector on it, they can only go so far. Scratches, you're going to be fine, but just the right impact, it's going to be gone. Plus, you can't slim with a screen protector. You have to find one that's water resistant, or it's going to have spots under it. Now, this is a similar issue that I had with a previous screen protector, where I put it on my watch. I didn't know that it was waterproof, but I would put my glasses on and it would look like the screen was bad, and I was like, what just happened? And I took the screen protector off because I was so worried about my display, and I put my glasses on and it was fine because the water was inside the screen protector, causing it to have a different aurora type of effect to it whenever I would have glasses on. Sunglasses, to be more specific. But I thought that was... It looked bad because you really couldn't read it very well, but that was kind of nice that I didn't know it beforehand. So, the last thing I wanted to follow up on was really the iPad Pro, but really there's not much to say about the iPad Pro. The only thing that I wish it could do was have full-on Photoshop on it. That would make it a much better iPad. I was about to say laptop. I was literally about to say it. Like, it was on the tip of my tongue. I almost called it a laptop. Now, I'm not saying an iPad cannot be a laptop, because it totally can be. Now, of course it doesn't have a USB port. It doesn't do a lot of things a computer can do, but when you're looking at a basic computer for notes or for other uses for it, which are just baseline with notes and everything your Mac can do, if you're a basic or moderate user, you probably have an iPad or a MacBook Air. Now, if you're using Photoshop or you're doing 3D modeling software like I am, the iPad doesn't have that software. And that's why I'm asking you, Apple, if you would be able to have the iPad have very similar or better type of operating system, well, a better operating system for the iPad to implement these things into it, because a lot of people would buy the iPad Pro if it had that type of innovation tapped into the operating system. I don't think you should go all the way and make a whole macOS software for the iPad. I think that you should continue what you're doing with iOS 11 with the docking bar at the bottom. You could totally implement something into really high-end software with the iPads. You already have a Bionic chip for the iPhone 10 and the iPhone 8 series. I think that with the next year's iPad, or the next coming up iPad, you could totally make this happen. You don't have to. And of course, I'm just a tech reviewer, but also a big Apple enthusiast. This is just my recommendation to you to implement this in your software. And this isn't just for me, this is for the people who are mainly buying your product. You specifically made this software for designers, graphic designers, animators. You made this iPad specifically to replace a laptop, but also as a Wacom tablet, basically. I think that the software is out there for you to implement it into a much better laptop. I'm not saying you have to put USB ports in here or anything like that, because then you would just be selling a laptop. Then it wouldn't be an iPad still. But if you make it stand out from the rest in a way that makes it powerful, or more powerful than a laptop, who the heck is going to say no to it? I would not say no to it. I would switch to that so fast, because I know that would be something I would need for school, something that I'll need for my career, and something that I would implement in my future. That's my recommendation. Either I would put it in your software, or maybe make an app for it. But the last thing with the iPad Pro, and I know I said I wasn't going to say anything just a few minutes ago, but now I'm starting to add some stuff in my head, because this is stand-up tech. This is pretty much what I do. That's why I don't have a script. For the iPads, their file base is the same with iOS. I think that there should be a different type of filing system with the MacBook Pro or MacBook Air, or even an iMac, sending the information in a file that could be accessed on a iPad. I'm not talking about documents, because I know documents work perfectly with that type of data transfer. I'm talking about like a high-end file. Like, say I have a 4K or 1080p Photoshop file with all these different layers in it. I want to send that to the iPad and work on it. I know that with the Photoshop application that you can download on your iPad Pro, you can do the I don't know what happened there, sorry. But I know you can do it the opposite way. So, couldn't you do it the other way too? Be able to do a vice versa type of file transfer? That would be perfect. And I know that there's AstroPad that I just recently purchased because it was recommended to me through one of your Apple Store employees, but I think that this is definitely something that you can implement in the software where the iPad could stand alone and be a more powerful device than a laptop. That will sell you so much money. That's just my idea for that. But that pretty much does it for today. This is not a quick video, but this is stand-up tech. I did recently change my YouTube name to iHenried instead of Talkerificable. Now, the big reason why I did that was primarily that's my Twitter account name, and a lot of people are having issues trying to find my YouTube channel, so I decided to not only simplify it, but I think that stands more to who I actually am and what I want to do with my life when it comes to what I'm trying to do with my career, which is to one day be in charge of the video crew who makes the big announcements for Apple's new products, or any other company that would want to have a development production team for their new products. That's what I want to do, more of an advertising slash video slash animation type major. And I thought iHenried is a lot better than Talkerificable. Talkerificable, I had that way back in 2013, and that was supposed to be like a music type channel, and in my heart I knew I always wanted to do tech, but I didn't realize how much I actually loved it, and I wasn't always around the new pieces of tech. There would always be some random person on the street or a random friend who would just have it, and I would play around with their new phone. That's how I looked at the first iPhone, and that's how I fell in love with it. It's actually my little brother's friend had the iPhone, the original one, and I was bewildered by how beautiful it was. But that's how I started to love tech products, and I definitely think iHenried is a better fit for what I want to do. And I have posted animation videos, and those are actually rigs from my school, and how it works is they give us the rigs either off of websites they have access to, or they give us access for it, or they have rigs of their own and we go ahead and animate them, and that's what I've been doing. I have been working a lot with modeling rigs of my own. I'm not that great at it for right now, to be perfectly honest, but as I progress in my degree and my major, I'm definitely going to get better at it. It's actually not a bad start, so maybe I'll post one of those in the future, but we'll just have to see. To be perfectly honest, I'm more fond of the animation part of it, not necessarily the modeling per se of the characters, just of objects. Objects are a lot of fun. I do those really, really quickly, but that's just me. That pretty much does it for tonight's episode. And if you watch this daytime, then that does it for today's episode. So, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. This has been Stand Up Tech.